What's up? I'm talking about the topic of monetizing Twitter and the checkmark issue for a little bit. So yeah, quick disclaimer, usually you would need more research. You cannot just go out there and try to monetize products without anybody asking you. But I thought, it can be very educational, and also, now that the CEO just asked people publicly on Twitter, maybe it makes sense if people in product just weigh in and shoot a bit more from the hip, we gotta experiment more publicly. I think it's a cool and fun thing, and maybe some of you, learn something from it. Or maybe it's a complete waste of your time. Let's find out. First thing we need is structure, right? So I'll talk about how does Twitter make money, how the new model works, some ideas on monetization, talking a little bit about spam, and then just round it off with a few thoughts on Elon Musk and his strategy. So the first thing we got to ask ourselves is, what is the actual business strategy of Twitter right now? What does the company want to achieve? And I think without any doubt, the topic of monetization is the most urgent one. Twitter needs cash. Musk paid 44 billion. Twitter makes about 5 billion a year. And I think they're still in the reds. And so, for example, I wouldn't say that spam is the primary topic that Elon Musk thinks about at night. I think it's important, don't get me wrong, but I think the most important thing is that Twitter cannot pay off its bank debt and other things within the next 10 years or something. That's absolutely impossible. I think it would be possible actually if Elon Musk had bought it completely on his own, because I think multi-billionaires often buy media companies at a premium just to increase their reach, because reach equals power. And so I think it wouldn't be as necessary. But in this acquisition, I think a lot of banks and investors are involved, so they need to be paid, right? So here's a quick monetization breakdown. At the moment, they make about 85% with ads and 15% with data licensing. Their annual revenue actually went quite up, especially with ads. They moved from 3.7 billion in 2020 up to 5 billion in 2021. So this proves again that they are very much focused on monetization and have truly stepped up their game. So if we break their business model a little bit more down into how they make money, when they charge, what they charge for, and the amount they charge for, both for ads and the data services, we can see that the ads business is mainly focused on promoted tweets and promoted accounts. And the average fee charged to promote a tweet can be between $100 and $1,000 for smaller fishes and over $10,000 for bigger ad agencies. On the other side, you have data services where developers or data scientists buy subscriptions so they can make API calls on the Twitter service. And for that, they charge around $150 to $2,500. Or if you need a lot more API calls, you can pay north of $10,000 and more. Now, you always have to balance your business model with a few other factors. First of all, how we get users, how they see our product, and how we connect them to our market segment. In other words, how our acquisition works, how our value proposition works, and how our business model works. Now, if we look at our advertisement and data subscription service, we can see that the people that actually use the platform are almost disconnected from that monetization model. Followers and creators on Twitter don't have to concern themselves with paying for ads or data. So our platform growth is currently unaffected by our monetization. The value proposition that Twitter offers also doesn't get tainted by ads and data subscriptions. And the market segment we focus on with our business model, which is advertisers and data subscribers, are not the people that contribute to the platform. But this is about to change. So the new model they are testing at the moment is a subscription model for the real platform users. It's a freemium model, meaning you can use the platform for free, but they try to upsell you to this Twitter Blue subscription. You get more features. For example, with the current Twitter Blue package, you pay $4.99 a month for something. And you can, for example, unpost tweets, which is not available to any free users. Now, Elon Musk just tries to upgrade this model into what I would call now Twitter Blue 2.0, where features like unpost still exist, but also your verification and your visibility are connected to this new kind of concept, which might have some issues, which I'll get into later. And the amount they want to charge you for is $20. Oh, what is this? oh, Stephen King just changed the pricing to $8, so good for us. But to bring it back, the model still needs to fit with these three factors. And in that particular case, it could definitely affect our platform users. Let me show you how. So the current platform dynamic is that you have followers and creators. I'm not sure if they have different names internally, but just bear with me. The value proposition for the followers is that they get the fastest and most direct interaction with creators. And creators reach the most people with their thoughts, which is also a pretty cool value proposition that I think Twitter delivers on extremely well. But so what happens if we introduce Twitter Blue with like benefits and visibility, not strictly features, but really things that affect kind of the way followers and creators can interact with each other? Then we might run into a few issues. So I don't think that user acquisition necessarily is directly affected by it, but the way users see our product in terms of what value proposition they get out of it, the interaction for followers with creators might get hindered by the new model. And when it comes down to the market segment, the willingness to pay might be affected as well. So let's break it down a little bit. So Twitter Blue 2.0 might reduce spam on the platform because users that have been verified and that are subscribed to the new feature are less likely to post spam because they're not anonymous anymore, etc. But it gatekeeps quality posts to a certain extent because people that are willing to pay and people that have good things to say on social media might not necessarily overlap. Now, in one of the tweets, it was also announced that people would get less ads. And I think that's a great feature. I think it worked very well for example, YouTube Premium. I'm also a YouTube Premium subscriber. I think the ads on YouTube were so annoying and the value YouTube gave our household was high enough to make the decision to purchase a subscription. But there is a problem from a business context because they can't eat up their existing ad revenue stream. So I guess that's the reason why Elon Musk wrote in his post that Twitter Blue subscribers will get half as many ads, because the worst outcome would be if they find new revenue streams but just lose the same amount of ad revenue as they win premium users. I mean, that would be the worst outcome for a platform that needs to increase their revenue, right? Now, from the creator side, I think a bunch of features that Twitter Blue could offer down the road can have huge values to creators. I mean, many creators on Twitter already use third-party apps to have better overview or certain features, so you can definitely emulate a few of them and bring them directly onto the Twitter platform. But again, all those third-party apps are connected through Twitter APIs, so you might just kill the revenue you already get from platforms like Buffer, etc. And so again, there is the risk of cannibalization. All right, let's talk about the willingness to pay. I think we all already saw tweets by AOC or Stephen King that they are not willing to pay $8, but I also don't think that they are necessarily the target audience. We really have to differentiate between famous people and smaller or medium-sized creators. I think Twitter makes a big distinction there. And that's also why in one of Elon Musk's tweets in the aftermath of his discussions, he wrote that there will be a second verification method that ensures that famous people still get some kind of recognition to make sure that followers know that they are really following Stephen King and not someone else. A few analogies to status were made in regards to Twitter Blue. And I don't think status works the same way in social media as it does with Tesla cars. I think that due to the amount of conversations that were had on Twitter, there is a risk that the checkmark is going to be directly associated with Elon Musk instead of the blue bird, meaning that people that usually would pay for the feature could be drawn off just due to the PR surrounding the feature introduction. I think that's the reason why most social media platforms try to remain very neutral and not associate with any singular person, because you need to cater to, I don't know, 200 million people. But yeah, let's see how this plays out. So just to double down a little bit on what I meant with market segmentation and the willingness to pay, I think one thing that many people get wrong in the whole discussion around Twitter is that they think that every new feature that gets introduced surrounding the platform is directed at all of the users of Twitter. Like everybody chimes in and says if they would pay for something or they won't. Usually products of that size segment their users by different attributes, let's say follower count or how active they are in a week, etc., and create products that are streamlined for them. Now, I'm pretty sure that Twitter never had Stephen King in mind when they thought of this $8 product. I think there was a segmentation of maybe, medium-sized creators down to prosumers, meaning followers that also sometimes, reply to a tweet. And maybe this is kind of the area where they drew a line and said, okay, this is the user base we think that we can address with this feature. We think that is willing to pay for a product like this, that is interested in the features we offer, etc. And I think that was good enough for them. I think the platform has like 240 million monetizable users. So I'm sure for a platform of this size, it doesn't make sense to create a one-size-fits-all solution for everybody, right? So will it work? Well, that depends, right? What does success and failure mean to the Twitter product team? For every new feature that gets rolled out, usually there is an internal bet that determines whether the new initiative reached its goal or not. In regards to this new monetization experiment, I suppose revenue will be quite important. So let's say if 240 million global monetizable daily active users are on the platform and $96 a year is the revenue the platform makes on an average user, then about 4% of this monetizable daily active user base would be 10 million users, which would pay 1 billion in revenue. And that would be a revenue increase of 20%, which sounds like an amazing success story and would send some very positive signals to banks, investors, etc. Now, if I compare this to a premium service like YouTube Premium, which has about 20 million users, I unfortunately cannot make a direct comparison because YouTube does not offer any numbers on monetizable daily active users. At least I didn't find any. But they have 2.1 billion monthly active users. But I'm pretty sure that Twitter's monthly active user base is not as big as YouTube's. So I'm sure they have to be a bit more aggressive in pushing this feature to reach half as many subscribers as YouTube Premium has at the moment. But let's say I don't think it's completely impossible to reach. All right, let's get to the fun part, some ideas on monetization. So for this little thought experiment, I doubled down a little bit more on the creator topic. There are a lot of platforms out there like Patreon, Twitch, TikTok, OnlyFans, YouTube that focus heavily on creating a better creator experience. Now I understand that the barrier to create a tweet is far lower than, for example, a video, but I think there are very interesting and smart creators on Twitter that share some of the greatest insights, be it on programming, be it on investing, etc. So for this, I try to go a little bit more in that direction and see how Twitter could be a more interesting creative platform. So idea number one is an AMA credits idea where users can buy credits to ask creators questions. A creator then sees those questions in a specialized stream and knows that for every direct answer, he or she will get $10 or $100 depending on how large their follower base is. Once the creator replies, the money gets transferred to their account, and I guess at a certain level they can always withdraw that amount. It's a little bit like a low effort Memo. Memo is the platform that allows you to buy video messages, video greetings from celebrities, and I think Twitter could give famous people another revenue stream where, let's say, if they were to answer some 50 questions, they could make $5,000 in under 10 minutes, which is quite a good rate even for very famous people, I suppose. And it would also allow them to interact with the fan base in a constant and very direct manner. So that might be a good thing to try out. Another one is thread paywalls. Now, in this idea, creators would be able to add a paywall after, let's say, 5 elements in their threads, and users with a Twitter subscription would be able to read on, while free users would only see the upper part above the fold. Creators would get paid for the amount of views they get behind their thread paywalls, which could be interesting because maybe it would lead to some people creating thread media empires on Twitter where some of the best insights would get posted directly on the platform. Now, this one also has some potentially negative side effects because it might affect the platform's value proposition. A lot of people are used to receiving and interacting with every tweet, and it could slow down interactions with creators. Also, maybe the user acquisition could get hindered a little bit if less tweets are publicly accessible. And of course, you would have to think how the API product and the ads product would be affected by certain tweets not being as accessible anymore. But I think these are problems that can be figured out. So I think it's always better to share ideas, even if they might not be, completely figured out yet. The third idea is tweet awards, a very unobtrusive idea where user can add stickers like in TikTok and Reddit to a post they like, and creators would get part of the awarded money. This fits the platform dynamic quite well because people already show appreciation for tweets, so I don't think it would mess too much with the core concept. Sadly, revenue-wise, Reddit only makes 2% of what it makes with ads, but that could still be 100 million a year if Twitter reaches a certain amount. I mean, even companies could use awards for users that tweeted positively about their products, etc. So there might be some interesting interactions in there. But even if it's not the biggest revenue driver, awards could drive Reddit Blue for certain followers because you could give each Reddit Blue user a certain amount of Twitter awards that they could share with the creators they like. So last but not least, there is also a concept that Twitter launched, I think, last September, which was super follows, which is similar to the concept of Patreon, where users could super follow a person they like and subscribe to them for a certain amount of money. For that, they would get private tweets that only this particular fan group could see. It's a very interesting concept, and I would love to find out where this kind of feature currently stands. I mean, it was posted by the group product manager, so there was a lot of weight behind this development. But based on the recent tweets, Esther Crawford and her team are completely focused on Twitter Blue. I mean, she's sleeping in a conference room until this feature is launched, which shows the determination of the team. I just hope that if super follows have been delayed or cancelled, that this decision was guided by reason and data and not because it was a top-down decision by Elon Musk, because this also seems like a very interesting direction to try out because it rewards creators, which is, in my opinion, a great strategy that allows a platform like Twitter to flourish. So just a little word about spam. I would summarize the current freedom of speech topic on Twitter with this little triangle. I think there are a few factors that cannot easily coexist. I think at the moment the platform allows for anonymity and also a free product, but some people consider it quite spammy, and also hate speech and drama is a topic that gets often discussed. I think with the recent developments, the platform will move a little bit more in this direction, where it's still possible to be anonymous, but the reduction in spam will come at the cost of higher buy-in for active and engaged users. I think it's possible, but there are of course other strategies you can try out as well. I mean, Facebook, for example, is practically spamless because users are not anonymous at all, and it seems to work very well, especially for an ads-based platform. But given the fact that new outside aspects like the iPhone not allowing users to be tracked anymore as easily lead to a decrease in ad revenue, I suppose a strategy that moves more towards a subscription-based model is a sound strategy. So to round it off, just one last thought on Elon's strategy of tweeting about all his ideas and then rolling back, etc. I think it feels kind of counterintuitive if we compare it to other CEOs or other companies. But I think many people can't remember the time when SpaceX launched 13 rockets into the ocean, and very publicly people were making fun of it, and you could see Elon Musk's face in agony as a rocket fell on the platform. And so Elon has this kind of Wright Brothers mindset where you just try out machines and failure is part of the process. I think for certain things this can be good, but for other things it can be an absolute horror show, especially for a product team when a CEO announces a launch date or changes feature descriptions and requirements while the feature is being delivered. But to give it a positive spin, we're living in a time where attention is a very important currency, and as long as people stay curious about what Elon Musk tries out next to monetize the Twitter platform, he hasn't lost the attention of the public, which would be a worse fate than the backlash he's currently getting. So maybe this kind of weird public discourse around the future of Twitter is not the worst thing from a PR standpoint, but as a product manager, I would not just use Twitter as a soundboard, because what people say about a product and what people then actually do with a product once it launches usually is quite different. All right, that was my take on it. I'm sure everything will change in the next few days, so this might be completely useless, but maybe it gave a few people some ideas. So thanks for watching. See you.